The final public comment request form is from Mark Trimble, and it concerns the strike. Or is this Matt?
That's Matt.
Matt, I apologize.
He may not need it.
Matt Trimble, 310 North Main Street, Englewood, Ohio, 45322. I've been an employee at RTA for just over 11 years, actually just a little bit longer than Mark. His employee number is 5633, mine's 5632. I'm a maintenance department executive board rep for the ATU Local 1385, and I serve on the contract negotiating committee for the union. The ATU Local 1385 and management team of the Greater Dayton RTA have been trying to reach a successor agreement for a contract that expired almost 2 full years ago. As most people in the community are aware, those efforts have failed. We are now on the brink of the first transit strike in Dayton since decades before I was born. Let me make one thing crystal clear. Nobody in my union wants to strike. We're going to lose our pay, and we put our health benefits at risk by doing so. Sorry about that. All we want is a fair contract. That fair contract will not be achieved by negotiations between Mr. Donahue and our president, Mr. Salyers. These two men admitted something in the media last week that most of the employees at RTA have known for a while. They don't particularly like each other. The effects of this relationship have been felt by the employees for some time now, and it's about to be felt by the entire community on Monday when traditional fixed route service stops. The ATU Local 1385 has stepped up and offered what I feel is the only way to settle this contract. That's to go to an impartial third-party arbitrator. Binding arbitration is not uncommon because, believe it or not, it's pretty common for a management group and a union to disagree on what's fair. We're almost 2 full years out of contract. It is past time for us to agree to disagree and bring in a professional arbitrator. You and this Board of Trustees, Mr. Donahue, have the power to stop this strike from happening. Please set these people's minds at ease that depend on this bus and people like myself who depend on it for employment and to support my family. Agree to take this to third-party binding arbitration. Do the right thing. Do the right thing for this community and this city. Do the right thing for these riders, and do the right thing for the employees at RTA. I thank you for your service to this community, and I thank you for your time here today.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments and for your wise observations. I'm sorry, it would be out of order. No. Okay.
I'd like to make a comment for those who are unaware, because the union recently, well, not just recently, back in October as well, brought up the issue of binding arbitration. Let's hand this thing off to a so-called independent third party. Years ago, what you may be too young to remember is, Matt, that to get the right to strike back, unions in Ohio gave up binding arbitration. It was written into many contracts, might have even been in the contract here at the time, I don't know, and traded it for an alternate dispute resolution process, which is fact-finding. And you're well aware that we've already been through that process, including the expense of it, and both parties rejected the outcome of that. Now, the difference with binding arbitration here is no one can reject. If you allow this to go to an arbitrator that it's binding, whatever that person, he or she decides, that is the new contract. So if it's a decision that adds $4 million or $6 million more dollars of burden to the taxpayer, we have to deal with that. And for us, that means you cut service, you raise fares, or some combination of both. And I mean significant cuts. Even the union's current proposal, adds over $3.2 million to what was on the table at the time. Now, we made a big service cut that you may remember in 2007. That's about the same amount of money we're talking about. So this is huge. And for us, one, we believe it's an improper delegation of our obligation, our duties, to hand this decision off to a third party and just blindly accept what comes with it. And two, the other thing to me is, and I'll say it till I'm blue in the face, I don't think the customers or the public should have to take reduced services and possibly increase fares simply so you guys can have what you want when there's a reasonable offer on the table. And we agree or disagree on whether it's reasonable or not, but we've made 4 different revisions to our final offer that you folks demanded on May the 4th or 5th, and we gave it to you on the 6th. We've changed it around as many times as we could, but we said on May the 6th, and I believe you might have been in the meeting, that final meant final. So adding money can't be done. And just last Thursday night, and this is why I'm concerned that we won't resolve this, the union president sends me a letter and adds more demands. Adds demands for things we haven't even spoken of since the union's initial proposal on May 22nd of 2015. And now I'm being told those have to be met too. So we're just not going to do that. And this issue of binding arbitration, everybody wants to just ignore the fact that we spent a small fortune of the taxpayers' money already to go to fact-finding because we'd only met 2 times, less than 4 hours each time in actual face-to-face negotiations. Then we went to mediation. Then we went to fact-finding. And here we are today. The only people that can stop a strike here is the Amalgamated Transit Union. You're the only ones that get to vote on it. We don't get to vote on whether or not you go on strike. That is your right, but I think you need to understand the facts that go with that. So, yes, Glenn Salyer and I don't get along, but we don't have to get along to get a contract. We just need a reasonable agreement that both parties can support. And believe me, we have to deal with the other end of it. Everybody else is like, just throw it out there. Just throw the money out there. It's just not that simple. When I have to think about taking their bus service away in order to give you what you want, that makes it a little more difficult. So my hope is in the next few days, and by the way, I haven't had a request to meet from your union president, that we would sit down and try to hammer something out that works. And we still hope we can do that because we don't want to see you out of work. We don't want to see you out of pay. And we don't want to see them without bus service. But at some point, we have to draw a line, and the line's been drawn. So, let's work this out if we can. And Glenn, if you're watching, please, give me a call. Stop talking to the media and start talking to the people you need to negotiate with to get an